What it do, baby? We are back. I don't want to say back. We're here today, so we're just gonna leave it there. But listen, today is Christmas Day. Today is the day that you run down the steps, you open up those presents and see what new toys that you're gonna play with. Unless you are the Baltimore Ravens, in which your parents don't make a whole lot of money, so you know that you're just gonna get some school clothes, some socks, maybe some things to wear next week. You don't get too many toys to play with, but we already know this. But it is an exciting day anyway, because it is the first day of legal tampering before the league year starts on Wednesday. I'm extremely excited. I don't know about you. How are you doing today, Yolanda?
I am doing fantastic. It is so good to be back. I missed my Ravens flock family. I missed all of you. I thought about you often. Hope everyone is doing well. Hendo, how are you tonight?
I mean, I'm well. I'm doing better than most because I already knew that the Ravens weren't going to be big spenders, big players in the first day of free agency. They normally never are. And being that we re-signed Ronnie Stanley, I already knew that pretty much is it, because we are cash strapped. But there have been some moves. There have been some moves that have been addition by subtraction that have made this a day for me.
No,
No.
it's been a disappointing day. I'm sorry. I'm just going to keep it 100%. Hey there, Delvon. Thank you for being here. Kimberly, good to see you. Jared, nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Look, the Steelers are much better, Don Royal, but I'm tired. I'm going to keep it 100%. I'm tired of watching other teams be proactive. I'm tired of watching other teams make moves to bolster their roster. Meanwhile, I keep sitting by my phone, sitting here with my phone in hand, looking to see, okay, are we going to get a tweet from, or a post, I guess, from Jeff Sarebic? Is he going to tell us that the Ravens have done that? No,
Hmm.
no, no.
Huh. Well, no, I kicked you out. But listen, we just here. Listen, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So,
Yeah.
listen, I understand people are disappointed. There have been a lot of moves made today. There have been a lot of teams that have gotten better, in my opinion. It's just that we maybe has expected more of the Ravens, and we know that that's not EDC. Every dollar counts. Right player, right price situation. Fix your face. We've gone through this for years. We've been going through this since 2019. We know what he's about. He may find a diamond in the rough. He may pull off a trade, but just to expect him to come out and be a big spender, we don't have the cap room. We were $12 million under the cap, and then we re-signed Ronnie Stanley. They didn't kind of give any of the numbers and how that affected the cap for us, because they don't have to be cap compliant until Wednesday. So we don't know. But what are you going to say?
I don't want to hear any more excuses about Imani. Good to see you. This is just like old times. I hope I'm not out of step. But anyway, I don't want to hear it about the Ravens don't have any money. The Ravens are strapped for cash. The Ravens are fighting to get up under the salary cap so that they're not over by wins. I don't want to hear any of it. You know why? Because if you managed your finances correctly from day one, you wouldn't be in this situation. If you didn't overpay players who ended up being on the bench, or we cut them mid-season because they were just non-productive, we wouldn't be in this situation having this conversation. So I'm not interested in hearing about, oh, the Ravens can't afford this, the Ravens can't afford that. Look at these other teams. Because last I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, family, the cap space is the same for every team. You get a certain amount of money each season to work with. Now, what you do from there with it, okay, now that rolls over to the next year because of cap hits. That rolls on to the next year because you mismanaged your money the year before. So I don't want to hear it. Hey, Brent, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Big Reg.
So what I'm getting from you, what I'm hearing from you is EDC ain't cooking. He ain't out here cooking.
I'm not saying he's not cooking. I'm just saying you can't tell me that we every year sit by and watch team after team after team get this player. Like Don Royal said, look what the Steelers did today. Look what the Jets did today. Look what the Dolphins did today. Look at
We
all
good.
these other teams are finding deficiencies in their roster,
Hmm.
and they're saying, we got to address this. And you
Right.
know what? If there's a great player out there, let's go snag him before the next team does. Why? Because we need this position. Let's start with the laundry list of positions that the Ravens need. Hey, Shug, I see you, Kenyatta. I see you, Nigerian Nightmare. All of you. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
The stream that we just kind of I'm upset. Okay. I don't believe in mismanagement of funds only to cry poor mouth later. That to
Yeah.
me is just that. Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
I don't want to hear it.
some people are going to say if we hadn't assigned Ronnie Stanley to 20 mil a year, we would have more money to spend. What do you feel about that? Because I think that that's just someone trying to scapegoat the fact that he mismanaged the funds. If he'd have had a replacement for Ronnie Stanley years ago, we may not have had to have resigned him. If we hadn't assigned a $70 million safety,
Hello.
we'd have a little bit more money. If we didn't pay $100 million to a linebacker, we'd have
Mercy.
more money. If we didn't pay
Mm,
$100 million to a defensive tackle,
mm.
we would have more money. But of course, these are the positions that the Ravens love to invest in because they think that they're going to impact the outcome of games. To me, not so much. Roquan, the last two playoffs, disappeared altogether. BK was solid. We ain't even gonna talk about Marcus Williams, but we would have had the cap room. If we didn't sign certain players and have to add void years to them, we wouldn't incur dead money. If we didn't resign players like Nelson Aguilar, we'd have money to spend on other people because essentially he did nothing for this team. So I understand everything that you're saying, but this last year's cap technically has no bearing on what happens with this year's cap. Technically, because you have some organizations, and we've been talking about this on Twitter, like the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams had not had a first round pick for 7 seasons. They had $100 million quarterback that they traded off, took a lot of dead money,
Mhm.
traded for Matt Stafford, paid him $100 million, paid Cooper Kupp, paid Jalen Ramsey, paid Aaron Donald, paid Leonard Floyd, paid a whole lot of people. And people said this is not how you go about doing things because they're going to be terrible. But what they did was they went to 2 Super Bowls,
Hmm.
won one,
One of them.
had a kind of a down year and rebuilt. And the way that they did this was smart drafting, smart free agent pickups. Now, drafting is the first thing because that is a thing that EDC loves to talk about when saying this is what we need to do to replenish the Baltimore Ravens roster because we don't have any money to spend. Now, year in and year out, he has an average of 9 picks per season. And out of those 9 picks on average, only 2 of those guys maybe have an impact on his team. So what does he have to do? He has to go out in free agency and replace the players that he just drafted. So that's what's killing our money. So, but even still, New Orleans Saints started, I think they were 30 million over the cap. 2 days later, 15 million. Like there are ways to maneuver. We just don't feel like we need to do those things. We feel like we should do the same thing over and over again and
Hmm.
let things lie where they may and keep continuing with this Groundhog Day of everything being the same as it is. I said this season, I'm going to give EDC some grace and I'm hoping that he's going to do something different. Now, yes, we didn't make a big splash, a big sign in the first day of free agency, but I'm hopeful that come tomorrow, come Wednesday, he's like, listen, all right, maybe I can't pick up a free agent, but I can make a trade for somebody. So that's what I think.
We have 11 draft picks. Let me say that one more time.
All right.
11.
11.
Last I counted. And I stopped listening to see if we acquired even more. I don't know. My point is, why do we need 11? Why can't we relinquish some of those draft picks and bring in a player? Exactly, Prod, Urban. We still paying OBJ.
Right.
So some of what you said, Hendo, I agree, but then some of it I disagree. Alicia, thanks for being here. The part of it I disagree is because decisions that we made years ago are impacting our cap space now. Hey, Killer Cam. So the problem I have with it is if we are not going to be better at decision making in terms of safeguarding our resources, we ought to be much better at understanding how to play chess
Mhm.
with our draft picks. We don't need all of them.
100%. But listen, you are 100% correct. But theoretically, technically, last year's cap doesn't affect this year's cap. If you want to make those moves, if you really want to free up some money, they have ways to do it. The Browns, terrible. Every season they restructure Deshaun Watson's contract and get $30 million in cap space immediately, just off of that one move. People talk about having to kick the can down the road and having to worry about things later. The problem is the road never ends. The road goes on as long as there's an NFL. So you can keep doing maneuvers, you can keep doing things until you get to a point. Now, my thing is go all in at least one season and see what
Yes.
happens. If it doesn't work, go back to what you know, go back to what you're comfortable with. But until that point, try something different. We've had 7 years of the exact same thing. Last year, we went to last season. Question marks on the offensive line. I know we re-signed Ronnie Stanley, but we still have question marks on the offensive line. And speaking of the offensive line,
Yeah, wait. Let me stop you there. Why do we have questions on the offensive line? Because I recall distinctly last offseason, EDC said for next season, we are going to be set at O-line.
Okay.
So let's bring up what was said over a little over a year ago or somewhere around this time last year,
right?
where our offensive line should be easy peasy, breezy, no questions about it. So how do you square that with your current statement that our offensive line is still a question mark?
As of this moment right now, we have problems. We're in trouble. But free agency theoretically hasn't even technically started yet.
It's a tampering. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's still an opportunity. There's still some guys out there that we can hope that EDC is going to go after. So we have to kind of, I guess, give him the benefit of the doubt because he can still make moves. Like he can still restructure some contracts and still make some moves until we get to training camp. If we see Andrew Voorhees as a starting left guard and we see Falele as a starting right guard, we know their problems. That is not an improvement. This line is not going to be good.
I'm going to be of the belief that I'm going to believe what you've shown me until I see you show me something different. Hey there, Big Woke. I like your avatar, John Parsons. He said he needs a new avatar. Hey, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But until the Ravens show me something different, I'm going to take their word. I'm going to go with what they have shown in the past.
Of
and
course.
in the past, they have shown that they march out these young, inexperienced players, and then they say, well, we did a really good job at building this O-line for Lamar Jackson.
Right.
So I don't have any reason to believe that we're not going to see Andrew Voorhees. We're not going to see Daniel Falele. I don't believe that we're going to see anything different.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean, we can hope, we can pray. I mean, the offensive line has gotten better.
It's gotten better to a degree, but just like John Parsons said, to a degree, just like John Parsons said, Kevin Zeitler, that was the dumbest thing I could ever think the Ravens did last offseason. Why did you let go of Zeitler? If we had Zeitler, we would have I think we would have had even, I'm not going to say like a fighting chance. I think we always have that when we have Lamar, but our offensive line would have been that much better with just one player.
Granted.
Just Kevin Zeitler's presence alone. No. I know, but why did we have to get rid of him last year is the question. This is what I'm saying.
Because we zag instead of zig.
This is why I have zero faith in this organization right now. I'm not saying that the Ravens are not going to do something.
Of course they are.
I believe they are going to do something. Yes. But going back to where we started was, oh man, EDC is out here cooking. He's out here getting it ready. I mean, he's going to get this roster ready. Is he? Okay. Well, I'll sit back. I will hold my commentary and I'll say, we shall see. That's where I'm going to leave it. We shall see.
Okay.
I'm not too terribly optimistic. Let me ask a question. For those who are watching, thank you very much. If you're watching on replay, thank you. Leave a comment. If you're right now, what is your confidence level in the Ravens actually improving this roster? on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being I'm extremely confident that EDC is going to improve this roster for us to be a serious Super Bowl contender. 1 being I have zero faith in this organization. Let us know. Give us a number. Where are you right now?
See, and here's the thing, and Big Reg brings up a terrific point. EDC is thinking for the future, right? The problem is he's always thinking for the future each and every season. And the issue is he's thinking for the future as in draft picks. And those draft picks take 3 or 4 years to pan out. So you can't go into a season 3 or 4 years, go into the next season 3 or 4 years, go into the next season 3 or 4 years. And when everybody's not on the same page at the same time, this is why we don't make it to a Super Bowl. So he needs to stop thinking for the future at some point and think about the present. We just watched the Super Bowl. And I know everybody loves to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and their defensive line, and they did not blitz and beat the crap out of Patrick Mahomes. But the thing that they don't talk about is this Eagles offensive line. That Eagles offensive line has been dominant, and it is part of the reason they have been successful for years. For some reason, we wish to emulate the defensive portion of it, but when it comes to offense, it's like, we'll just throw some guys in there because Lamar's going to make them look better anyway. Lamar's getting people paid. So, yes, stop thinking for the future and think now. But yes, my confidence level, I'll give them a 3.
I'm going to give them, I would say 3, 3.5. I'm not fully convinced that we're going to really do something. I think we will do something. What the something is,
Right.
I don't know. Zeke, he said 0. Ouch. I see you, Kimberly. Yeah.
Prod.
Yeah.
Prod is
Negative 1,000 prod. Wow. Hey, Ed, thanks for being here. He said a 4. It'll improve. Okay. Lonely therapy. Thank you all so much for joining.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm about a 3. I don't know. And was I ecstatic when we brought in Derrick Henry? Of course I was. But that did not negate and take away that even with a fantastic running back, an amazing quarterback, you still have to have a solid offensive line. And did we take care of that last year? No. So while, you can get, you can get happy and you can say, oh, we signed this player, we signed that player, but without the trenches, who are you as a team? How far do you think you can go? Hi, Osmond. So I'm going to give him a 3. I'm going to give him about a 3, 3.5.
Okay.
For me, but yeah. Well,
Right.
I wanted to tell everybody, thank you. I have missed everyone. I've missed you. I've missed the conversation. I've missed venting frustrations with this team. I haven't, been back in a couple of weeks. I know Hendo would want to say, okay, just go with weeks. Just go with weeks. It's okay.
Months.
As you can see behind me, I am, got like nothing on my shelf, and we are, in a moment of transition here. And so it's kind of been tough for me to schedule time, to make time, but you will see me back. You will see me back very soon on a regular basis. Right now, I'll come to YouTube, do live shows whenever I can as time permits, or whenever Hendo is so gracious enough to, send me a link.
Wait a minute. Listen, let me tell you how weird 2025 has been. I have been begging this woman to live stream for about 3 weeks now.
Okay, maybe a week and a half.
And when I have to ask to live stream, it's a problem. When I keep saying, listen, you need to live stream, you need to do something, we got to live stream. When it's me doing it, it's an issue. So yes, she's been on her best BS, and I'm here to call out on it, and you need to do something. Anyway,
well, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that you all are still staying around, hanging with me. Look, we're gonna ride this wave together. Okay, these Ravens got to do something.
Facts.
How are they going to match up with the Steelers, who are out here making moves? How are we going to match up against the Jets making moves? How are we going to match up against the Chiefs that just re-signed Hollywood Brown? I mean, what are we doing?
Drafting a corner in the first round.
We better not. We better not. We better not.
We are.
What position? Leave it in the chat. What position would you like to see the Ravens take first round? I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying wish list. Hey, Brandon,
So
wish list. What position do we need the most
I'm
first
telling
round?
people are going to say edge. They're going to say
Yes.
edge, corner, and safety.
No. I disagree with that. I disagree. Edge or O-line. I'm with you, Killer Cam. I'm going to say edge because we need, another premier edge rusher to go alongside my premier Odafe Owe. And then we certainly need offensive line. So I'm going to go with edge, O-line, or reverse the order. O-line, edge, either way.
All right.
Kim?
So my question is,
Mhm.
when we go with this edge rusher, right? Are we drafting them, or are we trade for them, or are we picking them up in free agency?
That depends on who's available in free agency, because our mindset is always, we don't need, in terms of the Ravens and how I see it, we don't necessarily need to pay top dollar for the best edge rusher out there or the best guard or the best tackle. It's like, okay, we'll let that best guard, that best tackle go to that team. And then after everything's said and done, we'll see what's kind of near the bottom, or we'll see what's left over. And then we'll claim that person.
Of course.
So that's my answer to the question.
Well, my answer is we need 2 guards.
I was just saying one, but okay.
No, we need 2 guards. Then we can go get an edge. We can get another corner, because who knows?
Fine.
Then maybe it's safety, then a linebacker. No, say corner, wide receiver, safety, linebacker.
Bottom line, family, we have a lot of work to do. That's what I'm hearing. Hendo just rattled off. Hendo just rattled off every single play, every single position group. That's what you could just simply say that. We need a little bit of everything on this team.
Yes, we do.
That's where we are right now. Let's be honest.
And why do we need that?
Then let me ask a question.
Why do we need that?
Because
this is why. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Let me ask this. If we could say one position group that the Ravens are set, like we don't need to add, we don't need to subtract, we're good, what would it be? What position group? Just one. Oh, who's our backup? Wait. I said the position group, not just the one player who's the starter. I said position group. So that means your starter and your backup. Do we have a position group where we say, we don't need to do anything to that one?
Lamar is not a businessman. He's a businessman. I'm telling you, we good. As long as we protect him. But if we're going for multiples and groups of something that we may possibly not need anyone at,
I would say running back.
I guess that would have to be the closest group, because you got Derrick Henry and you got Justice Hill. Yeah,
I agree. I saw Rod Wave. You took it. You got it. You got the right answer. Yeah, it would be running back. And outside of running back, outside of our running back room, we can stand to add just about every position. I mean, I saw D linemen. Someone mentioned earlier they'd like to see us bring in D line. I think that was Rod Wave. Yeah, because we sure did. Yeah, so
need another corner, because your boy signed with the Ravens North. They gave him 3. Listen, those 2, Makari and Brandon Stevens, like I said, those 2 are addition by subtraction. No longer will we have someone that we cannot get any worse at guard than somebody than Pat Makari. We cannot get worse than the 10 holding penalties, the getting just manhandled. We cannot get any worse than that. Can we get worse than Brandon Stevens? We possibly could. But they've both moved on to greener pasture. So what? You got some news? What?
No, I was just saying we could be worse than Brandon Stevens. I said,
So the scuttlebutt is TJ Tampa, because in my opinion, isn't that the reason that we drafted him? When we took 2 cornerbacks in last year's draft, wasn't that why we did it? Oh, TJ Tampa was a steal in the 4th round. He's gonna come in here and take a spot and do this and do that. Wasn't that the reason that we brought him in? This is the reason why we have 11 picks, because EDC himself said, hey, I'm not very good at drafting. I need to take as many swings as I can to hit on somebody, to hit on something. Now, sometimes he goes a little bit off kilter and he drafts positions in certain rounds that he doesn't need to take. But
Right.
this is the time for TJ Tampa to step up. Brandon Stevens is gone. Trey White is gone.
Trey White.
Who's the other one? Can't remember his name, but
Um,
he played special teams. He really didn't give us anything. So
that's terrible. We
this
don't
is his
even remember.
opportunity. Jalen Armour Davis, he's just a guy. I don't even know if he's still under contract,
Is
but
he?
this is the time for TJ Tampa to step up. So this, to me, I think if EDC is going to make any move, this is the position I think in the next couple of days he's going to try to trade for Jair Alexander.
I could see that. I could see him trying to trade for Jair. I could see that. Um, I don't know. I don't know.
And don't
John
forget,
Parsons said, "What about a backup QB?" Josh is he's elderly. I said earlier, Hendo was like, I asked, "What position group are we set on the Ravens roster right now?" And he said, "Quarterback." And I'm like, "No, we don't have a backup. I mean, we do, but hi, mom. That's my mom. Hey, mama. Hope you're doing all right. But thanks for joining. But I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we got some work. We
yeah.
got some work to do,
Yeah, but
but it's early.
we need
It's
another linebacker too. Your boy said Patrick Queen. We were drafted together.
yeah.
Bad boys for life. We ride together. We're gonna be sucky Steelers together. So he signed a 2-year, $10 million to be a linebacker with the Steelers, and I'm all for it. Shug, I hope you're still here. I am all for that Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison lineup. I'm all for it. Now, granted, they did go out and get DK Metcalf, and the thing that I don't like about that is the fact that a lot of Ravens fans try to dismiss the fact that they went out and got this wide receiver. Oh, well, he was barely better than Bateman this year. Okay, that was this past year.
Look at his
That was
whole
this past year.
career. Look at his entire
Look at the
career.
totality of his career. You
Ooh.
have George Pickens on one side. You have DK Metcalf on the other side. Now, understandably, they don't have a quarterback right now. But these are two dogs. These are two dudes. They both can go over 1,000 yards. Yes, it was $150 million, but you know what? I have to at least applaud the Steelers for going out and getting what they wanted. They wanted a number one. They wanted another number one wide receiver last season. They couldn't get it. They went out and got what they wanted. Now, if it works out, who knows? I can't say, but at least they were aggressive enough to say, you know what, this is a position of need. We're going to do something. We're not going to sit around and wait for all the free agents to get signed and see who's 35 years old with no tread left in the tires and resign and sign them and say, come on in here and see what you could do. So
Okay, 35. Did you have to go there? Like you over exaggerate. Like we get it. We get the point.
I'm over exaggerating.
Yes, big time, big time. Family, if you are enjoying tonight's live stream, do us a huge favor. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button for us. Take 2.5, hit the thumbs up. That lets us know that you want to see us back talking about the Ravens throughout this off season. So just go ahead, do us that favor, and don't pay attention to Hendo's
Didn't you
face
just
right
say you weren't going to be here?
Right, but you will.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah.
whoa.
I have a vision. I can see it. I can see it.
I'm
Anyway.
Yes, listen, if you are enjoying this content, please hit the like button, subscribe. I want to thank everybody for getting me to 6,000 subscribers. I really do appreciate it. Somehow this weekend has been amazing. We just pushed past. We're going to 6,200 right now. I really do appreciate that. Yes, like
That's
this
awesome.
was an amazing weekend for me, and I have all of you to thank for it. And listen, if you want to support the channel even further, make sure to go over to patreon.com/ROUG, support the channel, become a patron. Sign up to become a member, get a lot of benefits. Listen, I got rings for days. I'm retired. I'm retired, so you can win the rings, you can win a belt. Like we're just building a community where we're trying to grow and teach people how to do YouTube, teach people how to grow in business, whatever it is you want to do. And we just have a good time. We have a Discord that is live and popping 24/7. And the guys in the Discord and the ladies in the Discord can tell you it is a family. It is a community because we support each other outside of the Raven space. We support each other outside of the YouTube space. It is about people and connections, and that's all that we're about. So if you want to be a part of that, sign up. If you don't, I get it. It is what it is, but it's only $5 a month, and that gets you a lot. And we're going to start adding more and more things as the year progresses. So appreciate y'all once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly, I see you. She says she's worried about our Ravens this year. I get it, Kimberly. I do. I
Listen, I'm
the
sorry.
reason I'm a little worried, and I'm gonna get to your comment, Brandon Maddox. Thanks for joining. The reason I'm a little worried is just as I said earlier, for those who are just now joining, I'm a firm believer in I'm going to believe whatever you have demonstrated to me.
Right.
Whatever your pattern is, that's what I'm going to believe until you prove me wrong.
Right.
And from what I've seen, off season after off season, we bring in one quote splash player.
Yes.
And beyond that, it's just like, okay, well, I guess we're kind of just done here. Like our work is done. Now, going to your comment, Brandon, we're going to hit a draft like none other, and we're going to hit a home run. That remains to be seen because Hendo can do a video on all the draft picks that Hendo can do a video. All of the draft picks that EDC has made during his tenure and how many of those draft picks have panned out for the Ravens. I don't mean they've gone on to other teams and kind of like, done
Right.
well. I'm talking how many of the draft picks that EDC has taken have done well in Baltimore.
Right.
And I would venture to say, Brandon, that the scales of justice are not equally balanced. I would probably guess that there's been more misses than there have been hits. So when we talk about hitting a home run, I'd love to believe that. And I appreciate the vote of confidence.
Yes.
But unless we are going to be aggressive in the draft, and by that I mean if we have 11, and again, I stopped counting at 11. We might be 12 or
We have
13
11.
by now. Okay, if we have 11, Brandon, are we going to relinquish some of those? Are we going to move up in the draft to take the player that's the best at that position who's available when we need him? Or are we going to say, I'm good, I want to keep all 11? So
You know the answer to that question.
yeah.
And this concerns me. And Brandon, shout out to you for your
Yeah.
optimism and your belief in something that hasn't happened since EDC became the general manager. When has he even had 4 draft picks in the draft class hit? 4. And you talking about from top to bottom. Now, what worries me about this upcoming season is with the deficiencies that we may have at one cornerback slot, and more importantly, the defensive line. I mean, the offensive line. The Ravens have an extremely tough schedule. We play the Bengals twice. We play the Steelers twice. We play the Lions, the Texans, the Rams, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Packers, the Vikings, and ended off with the Chiefs. So we have a lot of offenses that have wide receivers and passing games that can do a lot of things. And if we can't score and keep up with these teams, we may not have the season that we are all looking and hoping for. So I think this is why we believe that EDC should make some moves. And I'm not saying go ahead and break the bank on it. Don't break the bank because it's not what you do, but at least make some prudent, smart moves. Get some guys that you know are going to help. Don't get guys that you think are just going to plug a hole or have name value. Like one name that's been brandished out there has been Von Miller. Von Miller was cool 5 years ago. Von Miller is not going to help this team this year, but because he is a big name, Ravens fans are like, oh man, we signed Von Miller. Yeah, pass rush about to be on top. It's not. So he needs to go out there and get somebody dominant. We need to get a pass rusher if we get one that can win one-on-ones, that can create pressure and havoc by himself.
Yes.
Kyle Van Noy cannot do this forever. He's 34 years. Don't you do it.
And Odafe Owe cannot do it by himself.
He doesn't. He really doesn't. He does not.
And, we need somebody to go alongside Odafe. So, absolutely. Myles Garrett, I know he just signed an extension with the Browns, but prior to what was that, yesterday or maybe the day before?
Yeah.
Prior to that, Myles Garrett was available. I know before then, and I know what you're going to say. He's an AFC North rival. They are not going to let him come to the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, well, what about Max Crosby? I know he signed an extension with the
Raiders.
I don't like that. This guy almost ran me off the road the other day, had a Raiders thing. I said, see, I don't do that. But yeah, I know he re-signed with the
Vegas.
But prior to that, he was available. So there are edge rushers out there.
Was he really? With the money they signed him with, he was not available. He wasn't available.
Look, I mean, that's why I feel the draft is so important. I agree. This draft is incredibly important. Yes. It is. And we cannot afford to have a B minus draft.
Right.
We cannot afford to have EDC did a C plus this year, B
Mhm.
minus. No, we need to have an A, solid A.
Well, we need to have a real A and not the fake. Oh man, EDC did his thing. Great pick, great pick, great pick, great pick. Because that's what they did last year.
And we don't see him.
Looking at the publications, looking at the Ravens flock, they were talking about, oh, this is an A+ draft. Look at what he got. You got two
Adisa
picks.
Isaac.
You got Nate Wiggins and you got Roger Rosengarten.
Adisa Isaac.
Okay.
Where was he?
Hurt.
TJ Tampa.
Hurt. Rasheen Ali.
I couldn't even remember the guy's name. I was like, what's the running
Hurt.
back's name?
Dennis Leary. Hurt. Nick Samek. Hurt. Sanusi Kane. He performed okay. They didn't
A
really
little bit.
They didn't give him an opportunity. He performed okay.
He performed okay. He did. But we've just rattled off at least 3 or 4 names, maybe 5, that really did not do much of anything for the Ravens. But they came with, highly recommended. These are going to be some excellent draft picks. And Ravens, you're going to, okay. So you're right, Brandon. The draft is very important.
Yes.
So.
And with all the players that have been traded technically this offseason and what they went for. They went for 5th, 6th round picks, maybe even a 4th. Are you telling me that we can't afford to give away one of these projects? Because we draft projects. We don't draft guys that can play football. We draft projects that we hope can turn into something. And you can't tell me that one of those guards, one of those edge rushers, we couldn't have gave up something for that. Listen, if we got to give up our 2nd round pick for a real edge rusher, do it. If you got to give it up for an offensive, for a guard that is a dog, get him. I said sign some guards last season. No, we're gonna run what we got. We're gonna experiment and put Lamar Jackson's health on the line just because we want to. Because we know that he can get it done and we know that he can overcome a lot of things. We're gonna put the onus on Lamar and take the onus off of us and not put the best offensive line around him. Look at what the Bears are doing with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has gotten beaten up last season. And they went out and got, what did they get? A tackle and 2 guards?
But
I'm sorry, guard, a center, and a tackle.
Yeah. Thank you for the donation from Cold Rain. Thank you for the $2 donation. He said, Hendo, are you seeing what the Bills are building?
I didn't want to get into that. I did not want to get into that. And because that upsets me. Not just because, we got the wrong MVP, we got the DEI MVP in there. But because with 4 years left, he has 4 years left on his contract. They gave him a 6-year, $330 million extension.
They did.
$250 million guaranteed. They didn't have to do that. But Lamar Jackson had to fight to get the contract that he got. Then on top of that, they gave Khalil Shakir a $60 million contract, and they just signed Josh Palmer from the Los Angeles Chargers, and they gave him a 3-year, $36 million deal. I don't know why this offseason is 3 years, $36 million. That's the number. But they're trying to build things around him. The one thing that I hope is going to happen, though, they are going to tick off James Cook, because James Cook said, listen, once I became that guy in the backfield, this is when Buffalo took off. Not because of Josh Allen, because of the run game. So I'm hoping that they kind of alienate him and he wants to go somewhere else. But yes, they are building something and they're trying to do some things in Buffalo. Now, starting the season off, they were $10 million over the cap. But they've signed so many players. Like, they signed a bunch of players. So they're trying to go from AFC Championship to Super Bowl. Unlike us, where we went from AFC Championship to experimentation and we backtracked. So other teams are giving us the blueprint on how to move forward. But for some reason, we want to do things our own way. And somebody asked me on Twitter earlier, I said, the Baltimore Ravens are here to be profitable. They're not here to win a Super Bowl. They're here to win just enough so you'll buy that merchandise, you'll show up at the games, and you'll support this team. So we can see other teams that are all in. The Eagles just won another Super Bowl, Super Bowl, and they're making moves. They were trying to get Myles Garrett from off of what they did last season. They're still trying to add pieces. They took Saquon Barkley's contract after 1 year and said, you know what? We've seen enough. We know who you are, and they gave him a lot more money. So we've seen a blueprint from many other teams, but we decided to go our own way and zag and say, you know what? If we don't win this way, so what? You're still going to show up to the games.
Wow. I see you, Imani. Ojabo, hurt. This is the point. So Hendo said we draft players. What did you say, Hendo? The type of players that we draft. Not the best player available, but it was something you said. And I was going to add to that. No, we also draft, the ones you said who are projects. We draft,
Projects. They're
right.
projects.
I'm going to add to that. We draft injured players. We have a history, a demonstrated track record of drafting injured players. So not only do we draft prospects, Brandon, we draft a lot of injured players. So there you go.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? Listen, this is right now to me. This is a list of the best free agents that are still available that could come and help the team. Safety Javon Holland from the Miami Dolphins. I think he could come in and do something. Will Freeze from Indianapolis. Mekhi Becton from Philly, probably going to re-sign him. Kevin Zeitler from Detroit. Byron Murphy, the cornerback from Minnesota. Asante Samuel Jr., the cornerback from the Los Angeles Chargers. Edge Azeez Alari from the New York Giants. And Brandon Sheriff, the guard from Jacksonville. And then I think that they're going to trade for Jair Alexander. So I think there may be a couple of guys still out there, but we have to see what's going to happen tomorrow and who's going to swoop in and get who. But first and foremost, I think the Ravens are going to go resign their own. First and foremost, I think they're going to resign their own, and it's going to be Tylan Wallace. It's not going to be Ben Cleveland. It's not going to be Nelson Aguilar. It's going to be Darius Washington and Hard Ricard. If I see that the Ravens resign Hard Ricard, I'm going to have.
We're going to come back on live. We're going to come back live and give you like instant-ish reactions.
It's a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give you instant. Yeah, I'll give you instant reaction because my thing is this: everybody lauds him because they're like, "Oh, you see what he's doing with the help blocking," and I do. And there are times where he is devastating in the run game blocking. He offers nothing in the pass game, and sometimes his blocking is suspect. But to me, if we go out here and build an offensive line that can actually protect, we don't need to implement a fullback to help out. We can put another wide receiver or another tight end on the field that can stretch the defense.
Yeah.
You know
Definitely.
what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree.
It's 2025, and we're talking about, resign a fullback. A fullback.
Yeah. I see you, Equip Institute. Thanks for being here, Florence. Thank you for joining. Ravens have a lot of work to do, and we are here to document the journey because we just want to see the Ravens maximize the moment. Get the best player available and do it quickly. Don't let another team get the best player.
Who's Pat?
Hey there, world class.
Who's Pat?
What'd you say?
Who's Pat? We had Pat McCurry. Who's Pat? I don't know Pat Ricard. I don't know Hard Ricard. I don't know a Pat Ricard. Who's that?
Stop calling that man that.
Shouldn't have put up them tweets.
Yeah, Imani, we need a wide receiver. We needed one last year. But no, we don't want to have that conversation. But family, we are going to get out of your way for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. All right. Keep your eyes open, your ears to the streets, because listen, from what I hear, EDC is about to be out here cooking.
Word.
So let's see what he's cooking. Let's see what he's cooking up. All right. In the next couple of days, let's see what happens.
It's hard to cook with a magnifying glass on the sun. It takes a very long time to cook.
Well, he's got some work to do. So we got to believe that he can get it done. Well, family, thank you. Thank you for joining. And we will see you back very soon. Don't know when exactly, but I'm sure Hendo will be back probably tomorrow. You'll see him really soon. But thank you.
If we make a signing tonight, I'll live stream early in the morning, possibly. If we make a splash sign
tonight, who we're gonna sign? Who? Exactly.
So no. Hold up, I wrote it down in my notes. Give me 1 second. Who can we sign?
Who can we sign tonight that would be a splash signing to kickstart free agency?
Jerry Rice. Terrell Owens. Andre Rison. Len Stallworth.
Family, you all have a good night.
All right, y'all.